So this next thing we're going to talk about is not an unpublished work by David Hume, or a work published after his death. This was a highly controversial essay released in his famous Inquiry of Human Understanding. And one of the topics that David Hume dedicates an entire essay to is the concept of miracles. So in today's day and age, you don't got to go very far to find people that are talking about miracles that are happening. Right? You don't got to look very far past your Facebook feed to find some news story where like a baby is saved from a fire and is spared. Or a single person survives a train wreck. What are the odds? People leave comments on this news story. What I'm saying is, if you think that your Facebook feed is the only time and place in history that you're going to find people calling these events miracles, or the providential hand of God intervening, reaching in, sparing their life for a few more years, well, you're wrong, right? The 1700s were rife with this sort of thinking. And why shouldn't they have been, honestly? I mean, if you believe in God, why shouldn't these things reinforce your belief in God? I mean, think about the fiery train wreck that the one person survived. Why did they survive when so many others perished? They should have died. How convenient, right? Mere coincidence? Or the creator of the universe intervening? But one big thing that David Hume would want us to do when we look at these sorts of events is to make a distinction between miracles and extraordinary events. Because in his mind, there is a huge difference in the implications here, right? Was that person surviving the train wreck unscathed a miracle? Or just a highly, highly unlikely extraordinary event? He would say it was an extraordinary event. See, to David Hume, a miracle is something that only an all-powerful God could be capable of. Right? A miracle is a temporary suspension of the laws of nature. A miracle is when somebody is levitating off the floor. Gravity is being defied. A miracle is when someone is raised from the dead. Right? The train wreck. That could have been anything. That could have been coincidence, right? David Hume lays out his rule of thumb whenever he's told about miracles here. Quote, "When anyone tells me that he saw a dead man restored to life, what I do is I immediately consider with myself whether it be more probable that this person should either deceive or be deceived, or that the fact which he relates should really have happened." End quote. And what he's saying here is, look, which is more likely? That the laws of nature were suspended in your favor by a supernatural God? Or that someone may have been deceived? Or that somebody's BSing you? This was a big point to followers of the Abrahamic religions during the time of David Hume. Many of them are mutually exclusive in the claims that they make in this regard. They believe in the legitimacy of their religion because of the miracles performed and the fulfillment of prophecy. Yet they're more than willing to turn a blind eye to the miracles that the other religions use as a basis for their beliefs. David Hume's just saying, let's make a distinction between miracles and extraordinary events. And when it comes to miracles, not that it proves that they didn't happen, but which is more likely? That the laws of the universe were suspended in your favor? Or that the miracles that you believe in are the same as the countless other miracles that you're skeptical about? When it comes to extraordinary events, David Hume would have said, well, what do you expect, really? With as many moving parts and as complex as the world is, as many variables that are in play, just because of the way that things are, we can expect a certain number of crazy coincidences, right? By the way, what's the alternative? That in a completely random world, not governed by a creator, that there wouldn't be any random coincidences? Like, no one would ever survive a train wreck? In this completely random world, as soon as you're on a train and it goes off the rails, you're dead. No chance of ever surviving. Randomness is that predictable?